folks, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Current blog post we want to show you. We, of course, review the latest in social media. Be sure to subscribe to all of our updates on the ChrisVossShow.com email list and on the Chris Voss channel on YouTube. You want to make sure and subscribe because we have major phone companies sending us all the latest in phones so that you can see them. And, of course, we do major reviews and comparisons on all of them. So, we're doing two comparisons here today of phones. One is the T-Mobile Samsung Galaxy Note. This is the first Note. And we're doing the VirginMobileUSA.com's Samsung Galaxy Reverb. So both these come from the same company. They're very different in their strengths and aspects, and we're going to do a comparison for them so you can see maybe which one might work best for you in upgrading to. So let's get into it. The T-Mobile, of course, you can find at t-mobile.com. That's t-mobile.com. And the Samsung Galaxy Reverb you can find at VirginMobileUSA.com. It's VirginMobileUSA.com. Tell them Chris Voss sent you. Let's take a look at the Note. The Note-wise, when it comes to specifics or specifications, if you will, the height on it is 5.78 inches, 3.27 in width, 0.38 in thickness. Comparatively, on the Galaxy Reverb, the height of the device stands at 4.82 in height, 2.53 in width, and 0.45 in thickness. The Galaxy Note has a weight of 6.28 ounces. Comparatively, the Reverb has a weight of 4.5 ounces. On the Galaxy Note, you're looking at talk time is 10 hours max. Standby is 250 hours max. 2500 milliamp lithium battery. On the Reverb, you're looking at you're looking at 8 hours standby time. 8 hours talk time. 9 hours standby time, and capacity 1700 milliamps. On the display, you're looking at, on the Note, an OLED full color display, 800 by 1280 pixels, 5.3 diagonal screen, Super AMOLED HD. On the Reverb, you're looking at 4-inch screen, 480 times 800 pixels, 233 ppi TFT technology screen, capacitive multi-touch screen, and light sensor, proximity sensor, as well as the Note. The Galaxy Note runs on Android, usually comes in the box at 4.0. This has been upgraded to 4.04, as has the Reverb been upgraded to Galaxy 4.04. Okay, so each of these devices have been upgraded to Android 4.04 that they're running on each of them. The processor for each device on the Note is a 1.5 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon S3 dual core. On the Reverb, you're looking at a Qualcomm Snapdragon S2 single core 1400 megahertz Scorpion. With the memory, you're looking at 16 gigabytes of internal storage and 1 gigabyte of RAM on the Note, and on the Reverb, you're looking at 768 megabytes of RAM, 4 gigabytes of internal built-in storage, and you can add a micro SD card to get up to 64 gigabytes of memory expansion, which is pretty cool. You can also expand the memory on the Galaxy Note. I believe it goes up to 32 gigabytes, if I recall correctly. Yes, that is correct. Micro SD card expand up to 32 gigabytes. It has a back resolution camera of 8 megapixels on the Note, front-facing camera of 2 megapixels, HDMI output with the right adapter, and of course resolution 1080p HD. On the Reverb, you have a back camera of 5 megapixels, autofocus, smile detection, digital zoom, the fun stuff, and front-facing camera 1.3 megapixels on the Galaxy Reverb. So that gives you a rundown between both and each of the devices, and let's take a look at them. Now, they both have live wallpaper that you can take in half. Most people like the Android product for the customization features that they possess in being able to customize them with widgets and everything else. You can see here the Galaxy Note has what's called an infinite swipe. On the Galaxy On the Galaxy Reverb, we just have a finite swipe, so we have to go all the way back if we want to take and get back to the home screen, or we can just push the home button, and there we are. So, both devices, of course, you can tell that the Note has a giant screen. And one of the other features about the Note is that it has an internal stylus built into the body that you can take and remove, and you can use it to draw and write on the Note, hence the name, the Note. So you can make notes. So we're going to compare both devices. They're both from Samsung, and again, once again, you'll be able to see how these two devices operate, and you can maybe just pick one that might work the best for you, or see how some other phone compares to the one you currently have now. Notifications wise, they're all pretty much about the same. The way they look, they both have the Samsung notification quick settings that I really like. I really love those things, so that's really cool. I've been in love with the Samsung product. I like the Samsung and the Galaxy S3, and everything that Samsung is doing right now seems to be really great. So, you can see here what we've got going on there. On the top part, we have a speaker for making calls and front-facing camera. On the Note, we have your menu, capacitive touch button, home, back button, and search. On the Samsung Galaxy Reverb, we have the front-facing speaker for making calls. We have the front-facing camera. We have capacitive menu, home, and back buttons, if you will. Let's take a look at the backs. Okay, so now here we can see the backs of both devices. We've got the Galaxy Note has got your camera eye, your lamp flash here, small speaker down here, and of course there's the stylus that pulls out. We'll show you that in a second. Over here on the Galaxy Reverb, we have the lamp flash, we have your camera eye, we have the speaker. There's a much bigger speaker behind the case in and of itself. Let's go ahead and show you what that looks like. We're going to go ahead and pull the case off the back. And pull that off. There we go. You can see here that it's got a 1700 milliamp battery in it, of course, and it's got a very good speaker. You can also see that it's got a removable battery, so you can take and pull the battery at will as you so choose. With the Galaxy Note, it has a stylus where you can pull the stylus out. Okay, so speed test wise, you can see here that these are the speed tests between both devices. You can also see the Note brings down a tremendous amount of data and has the ability to do so. There is one big difference between both these devices. One is a 4G device, which is the Note, and one is a 3G device, which is the Reverb. So the Reverb's at a bit of a disadvantage in comparing. We're really comparing apples to oranges at this point. But you can at least see the results of each of those tests. The Note, of course, is on the T-Mobile system. The Reverb is on the Virgin Mobile. Okay, so here we can see the performance on the Geekbench 2 scores on both these devices. 767 against 602 for the Reverb. The integer score was 683 against 505, 955 against 697 in the floating point. Memory was 791 on the Note compared to 743 on the Reverb, and stream was 362 against 331. We'll go ahead and page down through the document here. You can see these. And of course, you can pause this at any time if you so choose. There's really not much to see here when it comes to looking at the individual numbers, unless you're really geeked out into that, and that's your thing. But you can see here the totals overall, of course, with each device, memory performance there, and we'll go finally to stream performance. Here you can see the AnTuTu benchmark 2.9.3 version we're using here. The Note scored 6501 against the Reverb 3945. You can see the breakdowns of the RAM, integer, all that sort of good stuff. Okay, so now here you can see screen tests of both devices. Both devices have really good colors from what we found in benchmarking them with comparable phones in each of their categories. The Note does have, in this case, considerably stronger greens, richer greens, much more brighter, etc., etc. A little bit more stronger in the red, magentas, and blues. Okay, so here what we're showing is the CF Bench version 1.2. We're showing the results from the benchmarking tests on it. You can see here the breakdown. Of course, you can pause this at any time as we go through the list and be able to take a look at whatever figures you really want to see. Overall score for the CF Bench for the Note was 6,629 against 3,482. Okay, so here we can see the results of the quadrant standard test we're taking and doing. You can see here that the note came in at 3635 against, I believe that's 2589 there. If I'm seeing that correctly, it's pretty small on the Reverb. You can see the total scores here across the bottom. So that's the quadrant standard. What we're doing now is the GPS test. What this does is test how well each device can take and pick up GPS satellites, how many it can pick up, and how good it is. Both devices performs very well. They get to a nominal accuracy of 10 feet on average. You can see the variance here and what's coming into view and what's in use. And both devices usually get down to about 10. I think the Samsung Galaxy will eventually get there. It just depends on how long you're running the test. Okay, so here we can see using the GL benchmark 2.5.1, the Note scored 1308 frames at 12 frames per second. We're not sure about the score that's coming out on the Galaxy Reverb. It shows that it's coming in at 4,368. It's completely outbeating the Note. There's a little asterisk that's showing up here, and we're not sure what that is, but it came out with 39 frames per second. I don't think that's an accurate number, but let's take a look at what the off-screen was. The off-screen you can see here was 880 frames at 7.8 frames per second. You can see here this is more normal 1,110 frames at 9.8 frames per second. Okay, so here you can see we're doing the billion counter test. This basically tests how fast each device can count to a billion. The Note did it in 38.935 seconds, and the Reverb did it in 45.428 seconds. Alright, so here you can see the results of the Velamo test. This does a lot of different testing between HTML and everything else. 1139 was the Note performance score that we got, and 1253 was the performance score we got for the Reverb. In the metal scoring range, we got 350 for the Note and 358 for the Reverb. Okay, so this is the AnTuTu 3D rating benchmark app. You can see here that the Note scored 1969 versus the 1353 for the Reverb. Okay, so here you can see the AndEbench app. This takes and measures native and Java threads and how well each device processes them. It looks like on the native threads for 1880 was the Note, 1797 was the Samsung Galaxy Reverb, 105 for the Java, and 76 for the Reverb. Okay, here you can see this is the SQL test with the RL Benchmark SQL-like performance test. This does selects, inserts, drop tables, all that sort of good stuff, delete without indexes, all that sort of good stuff. The score for the T-Mobile Note came in at 39,841 against 35,866 on the Samsung Galaxy Reverb. Okay, so here we have the KFS benchmark scores, and these are pretty simple. Basically, these measure benchmarks for frames per second. So you can see here that the frames per second overall on the Note came in at 18.904 in their scoring, and in the Galaxy Samsung Reverb, 22.835. Okay, so here we can see the SunSpider scores on both devices. These take and measure the Java and the ability to deliver to web pages. We tried the browser mark, but the browser mark's been having a lot of problems since the iPhone 5, so we won't be bringing that to you. It's 29.7 milliseconds that the Note took and achieved, and 3,064.2 milliseconds on the Samsung Reverb. The key here is the lowest score wins, so that's the important factor. Okay, so let's take a look at the camera on the Galaxy Note. It has many of the similar features that you would normally see in an Android device. You've got your front-facing, back-facing switch here. You've got your ability to control flash on and off, and of course lamp if you're in the mode over here for taking pictures with video. You've also got your settings down here, and in the settings you've got several different things that you can choose from: self-portrait, flash, shooting mode. You've got all sorts, of course, different shooting modes that you can take and exercise here. So you can see those. On scene mode, you've got also different scene modes that you can take and shoot from, and you can see some of the ones that they have built into this. Every Android seems to have a little bit of a different settings or different menus. Some have less or more than others. You can, of course, adjust your exposure value if you so choose. Let's take a look at some of the other different features. You've got focus mode, timer, effects. I think this is fairly limited on effects. as you can see here, this is pretty much all we have to offer. Some of the newer Androids have a bunch more effects that they take and do. Resolution, of course, you can take and control your white balance, ISO, metering. A lot of people like the Android product because you can do all this customization to your shots and everything else, blink detection guidelines, image quality, auto contrast. You can choose whether you want to save this to your 32 gigabyte memory card that you want to have in the back, GPS tagging, all that sort of good stuff. So you can see some of the results there. You've got your shutter button here, and of course you can switch very easily and quickly between video mode and mode for camera. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the pictures that we took with the device. Very impressed, of course, with the camera. Now, this is a picture we took where the sun is setting, so we're not getting the most greatest shot in the world here, but we wanted to show you some of the different colors, shadows, and angles that you can see with the device. Let's take a look at some other pictures. Once again, this is taken in a sun setting sort of situation, so we're not getting the greatest picture there. This is a good look and a good picture, I think, at least in showing not only shadows but the blue sky. And so you can see there, you can see some reds, yellows, greens, all that sort of good stuff, and they came out pretty well. Here's some video, and of course we're shooting this. It starts from a darkened area, and we're rolling around. As you can see here, as we get into the lighted area, the video colors definitely improve as we're in a much better area. And it's a great camera. I mean, you can't say anything really bad about it. Here's another photo. Let's put it that way. Now, this is a situation where we're using the lamp in video mode on the back of the device. We're in a completely dark situation. It's completely black. And so what we're going to do is you're going to see this here where the device is going to be able to light up the background, and it does a really good job of being very bright. You can see me here stepping back, and it's still illuminating very well. The colors come out very well. It does a great job. So great lamp in the back when it comes to being able to light up your background area. This is another shot taken in complete darkness, keep in mind, and you can see here how well the flash lit up the area and also was able to capture in exact detail the colors and images. So did a really good job. Yeah, we've really liked the Samsung Note and its camera, and it's much very similar to the quality cameras that you see in the other devices that are out there. Okay, so let's take a look at the camera that we have on the Galaxy Reverb. Now, as you can see here, it's got a good little camera. Let's go back to the camera itself before we really get into the pictures. Now, what we have is of course, the standard operating stuff that you'd see on your Android. You have a switch, of course, between your taking pictures and video. You've got a camera shutter button up here. You've got, in this case, you've got a button, of course, to activate that. You've got your gallery down here. You've got your switch between front-facing camera. Your switch to turn on and off your flash. Your switch to this button will take and let you switch between how long your videos are for normal recording modes or for limit for MMS, so you can make nice short messages and send to people. There's also effects that are on here, and what's really nice about some of the effects, there's not a lot, looks like. What's nice about some of the effects is they will give you the effect in real time so that you can see what your shot's going to look like before you shoot it. The settings, you can see here, of course, with most Androids, there's a whole mess of different settings you can set: self-recording, flash, recording mode, exposures, timers, effects, resolutions, white balance, guidelines, off, video quality, etc., etc. Whole mess of different settings you can take and do there. Pretty much the same sort of setup for your camera. You've got your ability to do your flash, front-facing camera. You have the ability to do different shooting modes. Not a lot here as compared to some other Androids. You can, of course, control effects. Once again, kind of limited compared to other Androids, but still there. You're going to do, of course, different controls and menu, exposure values, focus modes, effects, resolution, white balance, ISO, metering. A lot of this customization. A lot of people like this about the Android product, is being able to customize the camera, so that really helps. Let's take a look at some of the photos that we got out of the device. With the video camera, we had trouble getting in really close shots. We seemed to do better when we pulled out. You can see here we're struggling to get some in focus there on a close shot, but once we pull out, we seem to do fairly well, and it comes into focus. Colors are okay. It's a 5 megapixel camera. Here you can see it takes pretty good shots with the thing, and of course you can customize this if you want. We're just using the basic settings on the phone itself and all that good stuff. Here is a video. Now this is taken in complete darkness that we're shooting this, and you can see how well it picks up the colors in the images we put forth. And you can see it's got a pretty good lamp on it where it lights up a pretty good area. Colors aren't as sharp and popping as we like to, but once again, you're looking at a 5 megapixel camera. We wish the colors would pop and be a little more richer, but there you are. But the lamp works really good, especially for the size of this device and price range that it's in. A lot of ones that you find really struggle to perform well in that mode. Let's see if we can't find the one thing that we're looking for, which is going to be the picture that we're taking and doing. Let's go into the picture. The picture here is going to be, of course, this is also taken in complete, utter darkness, and the flash is being activated. You can see here that we're getting some better color with the picture taking abilities. A little bit of blowout from the flash lamp, but still it picks up very well. Does a great dark shot, if you will. Alright, so the Galaxy Note has a feature that many of the mobile phones that we review on the ChrisVossShow.com don't have. It has the ability to have its own stylus, or pen if you will, that you can use to manipulate, operate the screen, handwrite stuff, make notes by handwriting, and of course maybe draw if that's your thing. So let's take a look at how this device works. We'll take and click on it here. We're using it in a stand, so we're going to hopefully try and keep this propped up well. Now we're in edit mode, which means we can use this to draw all over the place and do different things with. So this is something that most people don't have the ability to take and do, and all that good stuff. So you can take and do this. Let's see, this is going to be press and hold to open settings, and this will take us into swipe mode, of course, that we're getting into here. So let's see if we can switch between, oh, that's going to take us to the keyboards. So in essence, we can do several different things with this, as you can see, and of course you can take and use it as an eraser and all that good stuff, so you can take and use it that way. Pretty cool little handy device if writing is your thing. I'm really surprised because I didn't know anybody wrote anymore, but I imagine there's lots of people that are artists that would really like this sort of aspect, or people that really are into writing. So there you go. It's the Galaxy Note, and a feature that most things you won't find on mobile phones. Now overall, we like both devices. Both devices have their strength in each of other, and also the plans for each devices are very different in how the companies structure them. You can go to t-mobile.com, that's t-mobile.com, and take a look at their Galaxy Note and all the wonderful phones they have. There'll be the Galaxy 2 Note coming out soon. You can also take a look at Virgin Mobile USA, that's Virgin Mobile USA. Take a look at all their wonderful phones and their plans and stuff that might work for you. Be sure to tell them Chris Voss sent you. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. Be sure to check into the Chris Voss Show on a daily basis so you can see all the wonderful stuff we're uploading multiple times a day, and also subscribe to our channels at ChrisVossShow.com and our YouTube channel at Chris Voss. That way you can get all the latest and greatest stuff as all the cell phone companies are sending us, and we get a lot of the cool technological toys. Thanks for coming by the ChrisVossShow.com. Be sure to check back off.